Welcome back to Coach 'em Up Dre with your favorite coach in Southwest Florida, Coach Pa. I told you, this podcast is going to be about the latest in Southwest Florida, Collier County High School football rumors, some news, and transfer talk here late in December 2025. Okay. And let me tell you something real quick. This might be one of those podcasts that I do that you're going to have to follow some breadcrumbs, okay? Because there's some information I'm about to drop right now that I'm hearing that is explosive. I can't get into any names. I can't get into any specific details other than to tell you if indeed what I heard today is the cause of two people moving on from their local high school athletic department and leading a very successful program is true, it's going to be mind blowing. Okay. Number one, it's going to shock a vast amount of people out there that follow high school sports, and it's going to anger everybody else because what I learned today, and again, right now, is just hearsay. Okay. But all I can tell you right now, as I'm opening this podcast up, is if the recent change in a local high school is a result of what I heard earlier today, some people's heads are going to blow. And then others are going to be greatly upset because things like this just should not, the alleged allegations that I'm hearing, and again, I'm being very, very cautious about this, but the things that I heard, you just can't have these things going on if this is indeed what's happening or what it is alleged to have happened, causing the exodus of a couple of people from an athletic department here locally. So I'll just start off with that stay tuned. I can't wait till, if there is evidence out there, for it to come across my desk, and I will be absorbing it, and I will definitely be talking about it here on my podcast. But I tell you, man, some of the things you hear, sometimes it leaves you scratching your head. Other times it just makes you throw your hands up and say, why? Why? I mean, come on, why? But that's all I can say to start off this podcast. That stay tuned for any information that's going to happen out there. But again, if what I heard earlier today is indeed true, leading to the results of a recent shakeup at a local high school, is going to be very, very explosive. Now, first, let's talk about some news and some things that I'm hearing about over at community school. Okay. First of all, recently, community school has replaced their acting director of athletic operations, a Mr. Harold Hillard, recently, as he was leading up their athletic department. And, you know, he was just hired in July 2024. So it comes as a little bit of surprise to those of us that are outside the building, but only those that are within that program or within the school over there really knows why there was a parting of the ways from Mr. Hilliard, who just came there about a year and a half ago. You know, very heralded, came from a school up there in Tallahassee, has a great deal of experience in leading athletic departments and overseeing community schools' most successful high school football campaign. So it's a little bit of a surprise that that has occurred there. Now, CSN has appointed a Mr. Keith Lee as their interim director of athletic operations. No news if he's in consideration to be the permanent replacement for Mr. Hilliard, but Mr. Lee is currently the acting, or I should say the interim director of athletic operations over there at the community school. I have heard, you know, little birdie, you know, flew above and said, Coach Powell, let me tell you some more about what's going on over at community school. Coach Powell. And you know what he said? He said there might be some mutual interest of a very successful, experienced person in the sporting arena in this area and the community school. This person was allegedly spotted on campus, but that's just speculation at this particular point in time. Who knows if there is some serious communications about this person coming over to the athletic department over at the community school. But I did hear that somebody was over there and that there potentially might be some interest on both parties. Now, I also heard the same bird told me, Coach Powell, listen, what we're hearing is that the community school is possibly, if not very eager to upgrade its quarterback room. Okay. Interesting. Looking at the success that they had offensively last year, you know, they were a run first offense led by Mr. ACC and Duke Blue Devil, Mr. Javian Tanalis, who was on my all popcorn preseason team, who just tore it up over there the last couple of years. And of course, you're going to lean on Javian to do his work, and you're going to lean with 5 offensive linemen that they have. You're going to lean heavy on that running game. But from what I'm understanding, they want to be a little bit more multiple, meaning they got to get more dynamic as they integrate the freshman diaper dandy Jaden Phillips into RB1 now that Javian has graduated and is heading off to Duke in just a few weeks. So what I'm hearing is that they are open for business to find a quarterback that can come in there and compete in if he has the type of arm talent that can help them bring in some more dynamic receivers as they develop the receivers that they have right now on the roster. So keep an eye out for that. That CSN might be bringing in a quarterback. I did hear a little bit more information on that, but I'm not going to say. I was provided a name. I'm not going to put that name out there, but I did hear that community school could be looking to upgrade that quarterback room and become more dynamic in the passing game. They know they got to get more big plays out of the offense. So stay tuned to see what they do over there. But like I said, if they continue to have a great offensive line, look for Mr. Jaden Phillips to pick up where Mr. Tanalis left off last year. So I think they're happy with Jaden. I know he's a big, strong young man and fast twitch. You know, he can go the distance. So I think you're saying the next great running back that's going to be doing some big things over there at CSN. Okay. Now, that being said, it is true. You know, the high school portal is open, and the biggest name so far to transfer is Brady Quinn, ex-Lely quarterback his sophomore year, ex-First Baptist Academy Lion his true freshman year. So he is looking to go to, or he has committed and has transferred to his third high school, Chaminade Madonna. So he's going to continue to make a run. Some publications have him listed as a 3-star. Some has him as a rising 4-star quarterback. And I think after this spring and this early summer football camps, he will at least be a 4-star quarterback prospect here in Southwest Florida. So since we are in portal season, all the schools are on their winter break as of a recording of this video. I just wanted to take some time to talk about the importance of coaches recruiting their current roster to prevent players from leaving, okay, going into that portal. So that's what I want to spend a few minutes about, talking about the importance of coaches recruiting their building, not so much looking to add to their program. But when you have a couple of special players like the ones that I'm going to talk about at a few of these programs, I think it's vital that the coaches do their best to make sure that they have a plan and that they are working overtime to keep their players. All right. So let me start over at Golden Gate. Yes, the Golden Gate Titans. They have a couple of players, and head ball coach Nick Pajika, he will work overtime. I know Nick Bajika. He's not going to let any grass grow underneath his feet. He's going to make sure those kids are hungry in the weight room. He's going to make sure they're great in the classroom. He's going to continue to talk and communicate with his players and make them become and reach their full potential. Okay, so, but there's a couple of players on the Golden Gate Titans that I know Nick Bajika is focusing on. I just want to give them a little love, but I just also want to talk to these kids. I just want to talk to you football fans out here, about 3 kids over there at Golden Gate, that Nick Bajika has to do everything in his power to keep them there. We know the history of what happens in some of these other programs like Golden Gate. As soon as they start to develop some kind of way, they find themselves at another program. So let me talk about running back number 3, Mikinson, Mikey DeMenzier. Okay, 5'9", 5'10", very, very twitchy, very explosive. He logged 1,143 yards last year, 6 touchdowns. He's a junior. Okay, that young man right there is a must keep, because if that young man went to a number of other programs, he just might be on the radar screens of a lot of coaches. You know who he reminds me of? He's a poor man Nino Joseph. Okay, he's poor man's Nino Joseph. Same sort of build, powerfully built, twitchy. Okay, he can go the distance anytime he gets the ball. So I know Coach Bajika is doing everything in his power and putting together a plan for this young man to have even greater success next year by building the offensive line. I know their offensive line is young. They're a young team. I know they're going to be more experienced, but Mikey is going to be a player to watch. He might just make it to my all popcorn preseason team this coming season. Next, wide receiver wearing number 16 this past season is a Mr. Gams Tanis. Okay, big wide receiver. I first came across Gams over at First Baptist Academy. Okay, he runs track as well. I like his football body, and he's young too. He's only a sophomore. He's young. Okay, so he's only going to get bigger, stronger, and faster, but he's explosive. That is another playmaker and an explosive athlete that Golden Gate cannot afford to lose, especially after he had the type of experience that he did this year. So, Bajika, keep working hard to keep Gams on your roster as well. Third athlete I want to talk about is a wide receiver / athlete, ward number 7, Gene Renville. Ooh, I like Gene, man. Hey, plays basketball as well over there at GG. Fluid, smooth, okay? Smooth like melted butter, okay? Soft melted butter. That's Gene. Athletic and explosive. Those 3 kids are kids that Golden Gate cannot afford to leave the building. So do whatever you can. Make a plan. Don't let those kids hit the portal, okay? Dynamic athletes. Next up on the list, who I want to talk about, a school that surprisingly loses kids, okay? It's under the radar, but quietly over the past couple of years over at Aubrey Rogers, there's one young man that they cannot afford to lose, okay? Sophomore wide receiver wearing number 13, Hudson King, okay? Remember that name because they lost their other top receiver just the year before, Romeo, okay? Romeo put up a band at Aubrey Rogers, and what did Mr. Romeo do? He hit the portal. Okay, so number 13, Mr. Hudson King, tallied 30 catches this year for 416 yards and 5 tuds. Like it. He runs some good routes, good feet, great hands. Sophomore football player. Was JJ? Don't let him get in the portal, man. It's not a lot of playmakers like that here in the county. So do not let him exit your premises. Do whatever you have to do to keep that young man there. Okay. Now, let me go to those Cougars over at Barron Collier. Talk about a couple of players over there. Head ball coach, Brandon Tidwell. All right. Now, let me talk about this player right here, wearing number 99. He's 6'4", 270 pounds. I do believe he should be about 280, 285 come summer camp. And that is Gus. Okay, already has an offer from Murray State. Okay, again, I'm going to repeat. Gus plays defensive end, defensive tackle, 6'4", 270 pounds. Captured 6 QB sacks last year, had numerous other QB hits. He even had a scoop and score that went for, I believe, 60, 70 yards for a touchdown. Unfortunately, a block in the back took that off the board, but you see how athletic this young man is. You know who Gus reminds me of? I talked to you about Michelson for Golden Gate. Gus reminds me of one of my favorite kids that I got to know over there at GG, who signed with the University of Miami a couple weeks ago, Frederick Santias. Similar body type. Frederick is probably an inch, maybe an inch and a half taller, but same body type, same kind of athleticism. You see the long arms, and you see Frederick is pushing 290. Gus could be the same type of player, okay? All Gus has to do is control some emotions, okay? But understand that every down, this is what Frederick does well. Every down is the most important down to Frederick. Gus, if you could understand that and you can adopt that philosophy, nobody's going to be able to block you in the counter, okay? And so Coach Tidwell, it's not a lot of guys with that size on the defensive line around here. So you better do what you need to do to make sure Gus doesn't get tantalized, and start having those little feet because people are asking him to join their program. So make sure you lock every door over there at Barron Collier, lock all the gates to the football field. Do not let that young man get out. And I'm going to talk about somebody that probably nobody knows outside of Barron Collier football coaches and fans. This young man, let me give you a shout out. Number 14, a cornerback, Blaine Shoemaker, standing in at 6'2", 180 pounds. Blaine got 3 interceptions last year. Let me tell you, biggest highlight about Blaine is this last year. Guess who he chased down after he broke off for about an 80-yard run, chasing down before he get to the end zone? Yeah, I'm talking about this cornerback right here for Barron Collier, number 14, Blaine Schumacher, 6'2", 180 pounds. He chased down Nino Joseph, kept him from scoring on an 80-yard plus touchdown. That tells you the type of athleticism that this young man has. I know he's an exceptional baseball player. At corner, 6'2", that's power for size. Now, what he has to do is he has to hit the track this offseason and get more explosive. He's got to get more fluid throughout the hips. But that is another kid that, again, padlock the gates to the football field, lock all the doors. Do not let him get off campus, Coach Tidwell. Those 2 players right there are extremely important building blocks to the program over there. And those are the type of kids, if they get into the portal, all the high schools are going to love, and they're going to be day one starters for their program, and they're going to achieve some great things. So shout out to those 2 players over there at Barron College. Now, let me talk to you, Coach Manny Evans, head ball coach over there at Gulf Coast. All right. And again, I'm not saying nothing to the coaches, and I'm kind of tongue in cheek. They know their players. Okay. They know their players. On their exit interviews, they're already talking to the players, about, next year. They start with the off season, what they expect them to do, how much weight, how much time they need to drop off of their 40-yard runs, how strong they need to get in the weight room, all those type of things. Diets, everything. These good coaches, they're doing that with all their returning players. And let me tell you, they go to another level when they're talking to their most important players. So it comes as no surprise that the person that Coach Evans needs to recruit in that building and not let him get nowhere close to that front door. Matter of fact, you can't even let it get close to the exit or the rear door. That's number 28, Gio, the running back, Gio Marenko. Hey, this young man put up over 1,500 yards, 11 tuds. I can't believe he plays bigger than what, he's listed as, man. This young man, he knows how to drop those pads, and don't let him fool you. He go the distance, all right? He'll go the distance. And he's a north-south runner. He's a punishing, bruising runner. Why do I say that? Because he had 9 games of 100-plus yards, okay? 9 games of 100-plus yards. That's being consistent. And that's coming into the game knowing the scouting report that the defense that he's got to face, he's the number 1 target He's the number one focus of every opponent's defense. And for 9 games, the opposing defense could not keep him under the century mark. So you know what that tells me? That tells me that this young man is a baller. And it also tells me that I need to, tell you, Coach Evans, hey, I know we know as coaches. We know, but I just got to tap you on the shoulder. Hey, every day, make sure you checking in on Gio. Hey, how we doing, son? Hey, how was your day? How's your grades? Okay, how can I help you? Okay, we got big plans for you here. We building our offense around you. Okay, that's every day. That's every day you see Gio. And when there's a day off, that's a text you send. Hey, what you eat for breakfast? What you eat for lunch? How you doing? Okay, so Coach Evans, make sure you taking care of Gio over there because you can't let him get loose and hit this portal. Last team I want to talk about is Lely High School. There is no head coach. Okay, and as far as I know, I don't think anybody has been appointed as any temporary or acting head coach. I don't know. We're on winter break. I'm sure the administration over there is working hard to get that fixed over there, to get some leadership, get some direction there. But I'm gonna tell you what, Lely's loaded. Lely's loaded with potential kids that, especially at this particular point in time when there's no coach in the building, are at risk of having kids such as, number one, Nino Joseph Jr. I'm not even going to give you his stats. I'm going to just capitalize S, capital U, capital P, capital E, capital R, capital S, capital T, capital A, capital R. That's all you need to know. He's a super star. Okay? He was the only underclassman on my preseason popcorn team. You had to see this kid. I told you, man, this kid is dynamic, man. This kid, man, if you're a defensive coach, he is going to break your heart at some point during the game. He's that special. Okay? Superstar. Special. Okay? Terrific. You cannot let this man leave your building. Okay? He's one of those ones that raised the visibility and has done tremendous things to raise the profile of the entire Lely High School, where so many kids, hey, they wanted to go over there because Nino was there putting up numbers, doing things. That's what moths see in the flame. Hey, Nino's a flame, man. All these guys are coming there, man, because they're attracted to that flame, man, just like moths, man. So you cannot let Nino leave that campus. But again, who's talking to him? These kids, what's the plan? What's next? Who's coming in? What's the new offense going to look like? What's that mean for me? So that kid that I'm talking about right now, Nino, and the other kids I'm about to mention, hey, Layla, you're at risk. You can't let those kids hit the portal because I'm going to tell you, man, it's just not here in the county. Any of these teams are taking, anybody in the state will take that young man, Nino. Second kid that I got to talk about, I just talked about him briefly when mentioning R.B. Rogers. When we're talking about the kid that they can't let get out the building because this kid was at R.B. Rogers and left in the portal last year to come over to Lely. And that is number 14, wide receiver Romeo Serraro. Okay? He had some injuries, some little sickness, not quite sure. I heard, maybe a little illness, kept him down for a couple of games, you know what I mean? Those type of things. But even with that said, 35 catches, 610 yards, 6 touchdowns. His final game of the season against Miami Central. We know the type of dogs they have down there. Against Miami Central, Mr. Romeo, 13 catches, 35 yards, and 1 touchdown. Romeo is 6'1" tall. Now, let me. In my prior video, I mentioned Romeo's name, and I said in a future video, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about him. So this is that time, okay? So, Mr. Romeo, here's my respect to you because I talked to somebody within the football world around here that knows better than any about all the talent from here north and down south. So I greatly respect this person for his eye for talent and his eye for development. So we're having a conversation recently Matter of fact, we was down at Paradise Coast taking in some good youth football and some other football down there as FBU had its championship series this prior weekend. So anyway, I'm talking to this coach. I pull up on this coach, and I'm there with a couple other coaches. But I got some one-on-one time with this person, and I say, "Yo, in the midst of our conversation, man, hey, tell me about uh, the dogs, man, at wide receiver, man, because we had talked about Jaden, graduating and going to Oklahoma, and said, man, who's next, man? That's a big gap, and holler at me, man. Who the young bodies out here, man, doing something?" First name he mentioned, Romeo, was yours. Okay. I was like, word? I said, I got to see some of them a little bit, catch his videos and all that. I didn't get a chance to see him live. Saw a lady live twice, but he wasn't activated. He said, hey, Coach Powell, man, let me tell you something about Romeo. He's a Sunday player. He's one of them ones. He's a Sunday player. Now I was like, hold on, man. Come on, man. Rewind that. Tell me why. He proceeds to talk about, just the fluidity, the hips, the route running, the catch radius, okay, the understanding and the knowledge of the position. Romeo, when I tell you this person was singing your praises, man, about you that boy, hey lady, you don't want that boy to leave that building. All right. So he the real deal. Okay. He the real deal. And person that I was talking to just recently knows him very well and knows athletes, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And when he's talking like that, hey, that's one of them young men. If he go to the portal, he go anywhere in the state. All right. So let me talk about two other players real quick over at Laney that I really like. This young man wore number 6 wide receiver, Brandon Baptiste, also a very good basketball player, very athletic. I think he's underrated, and let me say this, underpromoted. But those that know, that's another 6-foot+ wide receiver, can jump out the gym, tough, okay? Another young player, tough. You can't let that young man get in the portal. Shout out to you, Brandon. And also number 3, Trayvon Charlius. Trayvon, first met him in during youth football. Kid's gotten a lot taller. He's always had a tough mindset, physical mindset, okay? And he is playing very good football on the back end of the Lady defense. So I really like him. Don't let him walk out of the building. I doubt if he's even considering that. He's from the south side of Naples, man, and he's been wearing the black and orange for a long time. But I just had to talk about a few kids that, hey, you coaches, you can't let these guys leave the building, because every player that I had just talked about right now, they're at the top of my watch out if these guys go into the portal list, okay? Because if you don't think other schools and other coaches see what I see and know what I know about these players, and the other players are hollering at them daily, okay? Getting at them daily, okay? They trying to say, hey, man, come on over here and slide. Slide over here, man. Y'all don't even have a coach over there. You don't know what's happening over there. Slide. Lost your quarterback. They're getting that Romeo and Brandon. They're like, man, you only have a quarterback to get you the ball, man. Slide. So, Laylee, you gotta, hey, pump the brakes, man. Get somebody over there and get a plan. You have to, all your coaches, but in particular, Lady, and you know what I felt about you coming into this football campaign, man. I thought you guys were going to finally do it, man. And, you guys fell a little short, but you can rebound and you can rewind this and run it back, if you keep these 4 kids. It's going to be tough because, again, these kids got to make some decisions for themselves. But coaches, in the positions that you have and you got your player rosters after you've had your exit interviews, I know you guys are doing the right thing, talking to them, having a plan, and systematically going about building your programs around your key players. But if any of these kids hit the portal, any school is going to have an immediate upgrade. So I just want to talk a little bit about that. recruit your players, have a plan, make sure your best players stay there and that they are the reason why other kids want to open enroll and come there because they see how you have developed them, how you have built your offense or defense to highlight their incredible talents. So make sure your best players are more than just happy, but they have an understanding that you have their best interests in heart and that you're going to continue to work with them to develop them. And these top players, I know they all have aspirations of playing college football. More importantly, have a plan for them to have visibility, make plays, and perform to their level in order to get recruited and become Saturday players. But that's my time. That's my latest pod. Hope you enjoy some of the rumors, some of the notes, and also some transfer portal talk. And also just my encouragement to all you ball coaches out there, man. Make sure you are recruiting your own players. Okay. So till the next time, this Coach Powell, and I want you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast, let everybody know who got the hottest Southwest Florida sports talk. That's at Coach 'em Up Dre, my podcast with Coach Powell. So I'm going to holler at you all later.